The silence wasn't empty. It was heavy, a refusal to meet my eyes. That's when I knew.
I'm very sorry.
She messaged me early in the morning, a quick text saying the contractions were getting close together. My heart started pounding. I typed back, "On my way. Are you scared?" Her reply came instantly. "No, just excited. Hurry." At the hospital, the air was thick with a strange tension. She wouldn't meet my eyes, focusing instead on the nurses who bustled in and out of the room. I reached for her hand, squeezing it, trying to ground myself, trying to ignore the feeling that something was off. Her phone buzzed again and again on the bedside table. Finally, she grabbed it and flipped it face down. "Everything okay?" I asked. She waved it off. "Just my mom, checking in." The room smelled of antiseptic and waiting, a sterile scent that only amplified my unease. I tried to reason with myself. Nerves can look like guilt, I thought. This is a huge day. The hours crawled by. We made strained small talk, filling the long silences between contractions. At one point, she looked at me, her expression unreadable. "Are you ready to be a father again?" she asked. I took a deep breath. "I'm ready to be honest and present," I said, and for a fleeting moment she smiled, before her gaze drifted away again. Finally, the doctor came in, his voice soft and reassuring. The energy in the room shifted, a mix of anticipation and controlled chaos. Then in a rush, it was over. The baby was born, and a profound quiet fell over the room. I looked at the doctor's face, searching for that universal expression of joy and relief. Instead, I saw hesitation. His eyes flickered towards my wife. She started talking immediately, her words rushing to fill the sudden void. "Isn't he beautiful? He looks so healthy." I felt a knot forming in my stomach. "Is something wrong?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. The doctor cleared his throat. "Let's just give you all a moment." My wife's grip on my hand tightened, her nails digging into my palm. "Everything will be fine," she whispered, but her voice was shaking. My stomach dropped before any more words were spoken. I knew. The baby was placed in a cot nearby, and as I looked, I started noticing details. Details that didn't add up, that didn't align with my expectations, with our shared genetics. I glanced at my wife, and I saw she wasn't looking at the baby. She was watching me, her eyes wide with a fear she was trying desperately to hide. I turned back to the doctor. I asked a simple, direct question. He answered carefully, his words clinical and non-committal, suggesting we could run some tests later for confirmation. Before I could respond, my wife cut in. "Tests? That's not necessary. He's perfect." I looked straight at her. "Why do you sound so afraid?" She laughed, a brittle, unconvincing sound. "You're just tired. You're imagining things." Just then, her mother swept into the room, a whirlwind of forced cheer. She clapped me on the shoulder, congratulating me loudly, but her eyes, like her daughter's, avoided mine. She took immediate control, fussing over the baby, directing the nurses, creating a buffer. I felt suffocated. I stepped back, out of the small circle they had formed, and took a slow, deep breath. That night I didn't stay in the room. I sat alone in the sterile hallway, the fluorescent lights humming overhead. My phone buzzed with congratulatory messages from friends and family. Each one felt like a small, sharp sting. A text from my wife appeared. "Where are you?" I replied, "I need some air. I need some clarity." Her response was a single heart emoji, no explanation. No apology, just a heart. A few days later, the hospital paperwork arrived. A stack of forms requiring signatures. My pen hovered over the line on the birth certificate, a line that assumed a certainty I no longer possessed. In the quiet of the hospital room, I turned to her. "I want a test," I said, my voice firm but low. Her reaction was immediate and explosive. She accused me of cruelty, of ruining this precious time. Her mother, who was always nearby, chimed in, her voice rising. "You're destroying a miracle. How could you be so heartless?" I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I just waited. The silence was my answer. The results arrived without drama or a grand reveal. The truth doesn't need to shout. It just stands there, quietly, undeniably present. My wife saw it on my face before I said a word, and she finally broke down. She cried, saying it was complicated, that it happened a long time ago. She said she never, ever planned to hurt me. "So you plan to lie to me forever?" I asked. Her answer was a choked whisper. I hoped you would never know. Her words were like a key turning, locking a door inside of me that would never open for her again. I walked down to the admin office and spoke calmly with the staff. I explained the situation and refused to sign the documents. I would not put my name on a lie. From the doorway, my wife shouted that I was abandoning her, abandoning them. Her voice echoed in the corridor. I'm not abandoning you, I said, turning to face her. I'm refusing to live in deception. People stared. Whispers followed me as I walked away. Outside, the cool air felt sharp and clean in my lungs. It was a relief. Her mother followed me out, calling me heartless, a monster. I stopped and looked at her. Secrets create their own endings, I said, and then I walked away and blocked her number. From then on, it was the lawyers who did the talking. My wife sent long, rambling messages filled with regret and explanations. I only replied when absolutely necessary with short, factual answers. My energy was focused on one thing, rebuilding my footing on ground that had completely crumbled beneath me. Silence became my greatest teacher. As weeks turned into months, the noise began to fade. The truth, as it often does, spread without any help from me. I heard through the grapevine that she was angry. Angry at me, at her mother, at the situation, at everyone but herself. I didn't feel anger in return, I just felt distance. Healing, I was learning, wasn't a triumphant victory. It was a quiet, internal process. One evening, months later, she sent a message asking if we could meet. I agreed, choosing a busy public coffee shop. She looked different. Tired and somehow smaller. The first question she asked was, "Do you hate me?" I thought for a moment. "Hate requires attachment," I replied. "I don't feel that anymore." She stirred her coffee, her hands trembling slightly. "What do you want now?" she asked. "Honesty," I said. "In all directions. From you and from myself." This time she cried without excuses. She talked, and for the first time I felt like she was telling the unvarnished truth. I listened without interrupting. When she was finished, I stood up. We parted ways without any promises, without any false hope. That night, I went back to my empty, quiet home. I cooked a simple meal for myself and ate it slowly, deliberately. The peace felt unfamiliar, but welcome. In the end, I had chosen self-respect over spectacle. My story didn't end with a dramatic quest for revenge. It ended quietly, with clarity. And that was more than enough. Thanks for listening. If this story resonated with you, I'd appreciate you subscribing to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.